Hey guys, welcome back to another little art doll video. So this one is going to be my new doll that is currently available in my shop at creaturesandart.com. It's a little opossum, so the first one that I've made so far, and I just saw this fur and thought it was perfect for an opossum. Polymer clay head, cosplay feet, armature inside, so it's posable, faux fur, faux suede tail. So if you want to know how I made her, then just keep watching. Okay, so I'm starting off by painting up some glass eyes, and these are high dome capuchons. So with rodents, it's really good to have high dome capuchons for the eyes because their eyes are quite bulgy. So I just got these in not that long ago, so I'm going to give it a go with these the high dome eyes. So I'm just painting them in a plain black with some just acrylic paint. So once it's done, I'm going to leave that to dry and I can start working on the sculpt. So I have done a rough shape of the head using some aluminium foil, so that's going to be the core and act basically like a skull, and then I'm going to cover it in Sculpey Original. So this is the white Sculpey that I'm working with today, and it's the softer Sculpeys because I like soft clays, and as I work really fast and sort of mush things around, it's just the way that I sculpt, and I like sculpting with softer stuff. So I'm just covering the aluminium ball with just a layer of it first, and then I can start sculpting the rough shape of everything and adding sort of rough details. So I'm adding a jawline to start off with, just so I can start working on the nose next, and I just quickly do a really rough shape of the jaw, and then I can start working on it when everything starts coming together. So for the nose, I'm going to be using Super Sculpey, and that's the beigey coloured one, and it's a little bit translucent, so I always use it for noses and like gum lines and stuff like that. So I'm doing a really rough shape, and then I can start refining it a little bit better once it's on to the head. So for the nostrils, I like to use a little ball tool and sort of carve out a nostril shape, and then use my needle tool to create the little slips that you see on the corners of each like animal noses. And I'm just adding a little bit of that Super Sculpey to the lip line, just so I can have that little bit of translucent colour. And just working a little bit on the muzzle area just to bulk it out a little bit and create sort of like that little lip sort of muzzle bit. Then I can create some eye wells for the eye, so they're nice and dry. So basically it's like it acts as like an eye socket. Because the capuchons are flat, I need to sort of bulk it out a little bit so it sticks out, and it's not just so flat on the face. So I do 2 little balls of polymer clay, and then I can stick the eyes on top. And then I just use a couple of worm shapes that I've rolled out for the eyelids, and I'll then detail it once everything's come together. once those eyelids are on, I can start building up the eyebrow area. So I always do this last, just to build up an expression and get the sort of look in the eyes that I want. And the brows always bring it all together, so you can make it look angry, you can make it look sad, all those things you can do in this section of the sculpting. Now I can start bulking out the under eye. I don't add too much to this one, just depending how bulky this under eye area is, and I just smooth it out using my finger. Moving on to the ears, and for the ears I like to roll out 2 similar sized balls and then create them together, so they're basically the rough shape that you're going to need, and they're going to be the right amount of volume of Sculpey. So usually they turn out pretty similar when you use 2 similar sized balls. And then I'm just going to be adding them to the head, and then I can refine them a bit more once they're on the head. So they were a little bit too big here, so I ended up making them a little bit smaller and adding a little bit more clay around the head. And I'm just going to do a little bit more on the brow because I wanted it a bit more pronounced, so just adding a bit more to the brow line. And then I'm going to start adding a little bit of furring detail. You don't have to do this, but I usually do this around the thinner areas, so around the eyes, the nose, the mouth, sometimes around the ears. Just sort of helps with blending in the faux fur that I add to the head. And I almost forgot to add the little teethies, so 2 little teethy at the front that I am using translucent Sculpey for. For the hands and feet, I'm going to be using some Cos Clay, which I've mixed with some Super Sculpey, just because Cos Clay is it's the Kickstarter version, so it's really crumbly. So I've just rolled out similar sized balls again and just sort of pinching out the fingertips instead of adding them in this time. I'm trying something a little bit different, and it was a little bit easier than adding the fingertips themselves. So once I've pulled out all the fingertips, I can start adding all the little details. So I'm adding the fingertips to this one, so I've just rolled out little balls of clay and smoothing them out using my needle tool. And just creating a little bit of definition using this little spoon tool and just pulling the clay down so I can add sort of like the little fatty bits on the palm. And then I can start adding the toe beans and smoothing them out. So this is the head once I've baked it and it's all ready to paint. I've added the armature into it, so I'm going to start painting it. I'm doing a small light wash of some pink paint, which I'm going to dab off the nose because I still want it to be like that translucency colour. So I'm just doing a really, really light paint of this one, and I'm going to do that over the hands as well, and then I'm going to add a little bit of red to everything just to bring it a little bit more redness to it. Now I can start painting around the eyes and also the ears in just a black colour. And this is a little look at once it's painted and I can start constructing the armature. Okay, so I'm using a 1/8 scale armature for this one, so this is my smallest armature, and I'm just going to pop all the pieces together. And I have a lot of stock of these armatures in my shop if you're interested. I'm out of the pliers for most of the sizes, but I've got just bits and pieces, so check it out at creaturesindat.com. Wrapping the armature in some pipe cleaners just so the polyfill has something to stick to when I needle felt the body. So I'm using some polyfill to needle felt the body, and this basically acts as a muscle tone, and I'll needle felt that until I get the correct shape, and then I'll add some faux fur over the top. And it always takes a bit of time to do this, but I think the outcome is definitely worth it. Okay, so once I've finished with that, this is the faux fur that I'm going to be using. I found it online and I thought it was perfect for an opossum, so I'm just starting off by doing the faux fur on the torso piece first. I'll be pinning it together and then cutting some leg holes into it and sewing it up using a ladder stitch. And then I can move on to the arms and legs, and I'm just sewing it up with a ladder stitch again. For the tail, I'm using a fake suede, and I'm going to be sewing that up using a ladder stitch again. So once it's done and all sewn up, I can start gluing everything together. So I'm using a tacky fabric glue that I get from my local craft store, just like a clear tacky glue, and it works really well for adhering fabrics to clays. Then I can add some faux fur to the head, and once that's all dry I can start just going over and cleaning everything up. So I'm just picking off some excess hair that I've done on the eye, and then I can go ahead and start painting all of the little details in that bring the doll to life. So I'm just using some water-based acrylic paint to paint around the eyes again and add some little colouring to around the eye area. And then adding some whiskers to the face. So I have a tutorial on how I do the whiskers in my shop, creaturesandart.com, if you want to know how I do it properly. And yeah, so many whiskers on these opossums. And just basically adding the little white markings on top of the ears that I didn't see. So I managed to catch that as I was finishing up, so I just painted them in using some water-based acrylic paint. And that's pretty much it for this video. So this is available in my shop, creaturesandart.com. Payment plans welcome. Just shoot me a message if you want to know how they work. And yeah, I hopefully have more dolls up soon. But thank you for watching. I hope you liked it and learned a thing or two. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, help the channel grow. You can check me out on Patreon as well, and you can also find me on Instagram, Facebook and TikTok, creaturesandart.com. And I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.